Howdy, folks. Timber Drifter here. I've just returned home to Wisconsin after almost 2 months in Kansas. One of my favorite flake pipes, Stanwell Zebrano, and one of my favorite Virginias for a long time now. Sitting here enjoying the day. It's starting to be a bit overcast. The wind has settled down, so a few mosquitoes are coming out of the trees behind me. When I left here, there was still 3.5, 4 feet of snow on the ground. Now it's pretty much summer. A lot going on in the world. There always is. A lot going on in the country. Of course, the plague is upon us. I'm not going to talk too much about that. But being a guy that's always expecting things to go wrong on a large scale and people to misbehave, I kind of watched that one unfold. I was kind of keeping track of various news sources, expecting to hear about something real bad going on. And I don't remember now because it's been so long. I think it's almost June, or maybe today is the first day of June. But a while back, I checked my text log to see when my earliest text about the plague was. It was January 2nd. I texted a friend of mine, "Hey, are you seeing what's happening in China?" And of course, right away, I started doing a lot of research on it. Whatever I could dig up. And as I watched it progress that first couple of weeks, I thought we might have something serious going on here. And I started telling various people that, maybe we ought to be preparing for that. And some people listened and some laughed. I'm not looking for a pat on the back or something. I didn't come on here and tell everybody what was going on, or tell a wide group of people, just a few friends and family. I mentioned that maybe I ought to keep an eye on this situation. Get stocked up on a few things in case it turns bad and we got to lock down. But that being said, even though I was aware of it and expecting it to be worse than it is really, I still chose to go to Kansas. I thought I kind of weighed the pros and cons of how bad it could get, and what measures might be taken, and just reviewing places where it might be good to hold up. Obviously, where I live here in kind of northeast Wisconsin, it's a pretty good place. Not that many people around here, and of course, I'm stocked up at home. But I decided that rural Kansas was just as good a place to ride out a pandemic, and it turned out it was. So it worked out for me. And so far, none of my family or friends have gotten sick, but I have known a couple of people that have had it, and one person that's died from it. They weren't close friends, just people I knew from many years ago. And it wasn't real bad up here, hasn't been, in northern Wisconsin, but of course we've got tourist season going now, and people from the cities are coming up, and I expect there to be another wave of it come through here with everybody coming up, but maybe not. We'll see. And although I read about it constantly and keep an eye on about a dozen news sources, not just with the pandemic, but various other things, because that's not the only thing going on. never is. Everything else is still happening too. But anyway, I try to keep up on the best information I can come by, and it's kind of hard to know what to do and who to trust with information. It's really just too early, you know. But with the political class and the various experts and news agencies, there is so much finger pointing and ass covering going on that it's quite the dog and pony show. And I'm about done with that. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. And I have very little patience for party line politics. So, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. I don't get too much into the conspiracies. I look into them, but I've been able to, for myself, debunk most of the major ones just with the information I can get on hand, and I don't have any access to any special information. I just analyze information. And then, of course, there's the riots going on for good reason. It's about time. And like everyone else, saying most other people, I don't approve of the looting and the burning. I would not take part in that myself. And I'm not anti-police. I'm really not. I've had my problems with various law enforcement officers, and they were all out of line. But that's the thing with any profession. They're all just people. And there's bad apples among any group of people. And there's a certain percentage, and I don't know what it is. Say I've known and lived with law enforcement officers for a number of years. Not currently, but I have quite a few young law enforcement officers, enough to be able to realize that there's a certain class of people that go into that profession, and if they weren't cops, they'd be criminals. Now, some folks that are law enforcement that might be watching this might be offended by that, but I would bet that you probably know what I'm talking about. You probably know people like that. And it's unfortunate, and the bad apples in any group have to be sorted out. Cops too. That said, I personally think we need police officers. I don't typically need them, but I might someday. And there's a lot of people that do require police. So I'm not down on the police. I'm down on the bad actors among them. Just like any other group. But things need to change. Anyway, enough about that too. So, trigger warning. If I haven't triggered you already, I'm going to be squeezing triggers and firing off a few shots here. I got a almost new brick of Remington 22 long rifle. And I have my first rifle that I ever bought. Got it back from my dad. He's had it for a lot of years. I believe it was the summer I turned 16. I worked for a rancher, and I cut cedar trees out of cattle pastures and scraped and sanded and painted cattle feeders until I had enough money to buy this gun. And it's a Henry. Henry 22. It's pretty beat up. It's had at least 10,000 rounds through it. It's been carried around a lot. And the sights are wrecked on it. My dad put a scope on it. To me, a scope on a lever action rifle is somewhat of an abomination. But it's alright. I'll take it off and put it on something else. See if I can find some replacement sights for this gun. But I haven't had it for a lot of years, and it brings back a lot of fond memories. And of course, the 22 lever action is a lot of fun to shoot. So I've kind of got it roughly sighted in, and I was shooting some pieces of clay pigeons left on the berms out here at the range. And I've got a 12-inch steel plate sitting down there on a gravel pile. But as far as I can tell, stepping it off and calculating the drop, it's about 80 yards away, which is a relatively easy shot with a scoped rifle. So, the other reason I brought this gun out here today, other than it's just fun to shoot, is this gun is filthy. Filthy dirty. So I figure I'll fire some rounds through it and loosen up the built-up cake that's in it. So it's got so much junk, burnt carbon built up in it. I imagine it's probably going to not eject properly every once in a while. Forget to put my hearing protection in. So, I don't know how loud this is going to be. You might want to turn down the speakers. But I'm going to fire a few shots. There we go. Dirty gun, failure to eject. I expected that to happen. In my experience, that is not a problem with Henrys, it's a problem with dirty rifles. And this is a dirty, dirty rifle. Empty. So, like I say, good to be back home. Shooting a gun I haven't shot, or haven't had in my possession since I was, I think, 21 years old. Always liked that gun. I'll get it worked out, fixed up, cleaned up, shooting good. Pipe's just about done. Well, y'all take care out there. Be safe. Stay alert, stay alive, right? hope you don't get caught up in the hype and bullshit and get more freaked out than you need to be by what's going on. There's always things going on. There's always people looking to take advantage. Gotta keep an eye out. Keep an eye on each other, right? Take care of the people you love and anybody else you can too. Well, hope you can get outside. Take care.